I'm scarfing one last bite here.
What's up?
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Doing good.
What's up, Grant? How are you?
I'm good. I'm rocking 3 laptops right now because I'm ready for anything we're gonna
Because I'm
show
just
off.
that cool. That's
I'm just ready for anything we want to show off. So it depends on what the
if it's any
folks.
consolation, I have a laptop, a Surface Pro, my work laptop that I don't have any of this on, because I want it devoted to the streaming. Because problems if you're not careful.
Hey, are you? You have your Claudebot set up, right? That's like the buzzword of the week this week.
Not on either of these.
Oh, okay.
Not on either of these. And honestly, I keep hitting walls. What I will say about Claudebot is it is absolutely dangerous and delightful.
Okay.
What I've done with it, in short, is I've set it up on my main computer downstairs, which is the Big Dell Pro Max, and I've set it up and I have it connected through Codex, running with my Codex token, just through my ChatGPT account, because Matt Berman scared me to death when I saw that he ran $170 or $80 the first day of API.
Oh,
he's like,
if you think
70
that's
million
bad,
tokens. Yeah.
They did a running report of how many tokens the creator of Claudebot, Peter, has used, and it's the equivalent of $51,000 over 250 billion tokens.
Ouch.
So yeah, if you have $51,000 in disposable
tokens.
well, he's not. I don't think he's just using Claude. Like, goodness gracious. Like,
yeah. Well, what I've done now is I've now linked my Claudebot to Telegram so I can talk to it on my phone.
Nice.
But I hit a hurdle last night. What I was running into is that it wants to pass 18,000 tokens with every prompt. It wants to send every possible tool call, every possible channel, every possible skill in every send. And it was grabbing the last 64 chat messages. So I went through and I trimmed some of those things that I don't need, and I went and opened LM Studio and had it build a connection for me to LM Studio, running OSS 20B. I was then able to
running off of that.
Do what? It is now.
It's now running off of that. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So cost free, and the truth is, it can do most of what I need it to. And it worked for a little bit, and then it stopped, and it worked for a little bit, then it stopped. I'm having problems with the gateway more than anything is what's leading to it. Like, the gateway keeps auto shutting off. So I'm not a networking guy, and I need someone to walk me through how to make that stop. ChatGPT's been very helpful and helped me with a lot of like little snippets and things that I needed to make it work. Right. And as has Claudebot itself. But what I've done is I've connected it to Telegram that goes to my phone, so I can talk with my desktop computer from my cell phone wherever I am and tell it to do things like, hey, go grab me the top AI news from the last 12 hours. Shoot me summaries of these, because it can operate a browser. It can do all of the things that you might want it to do, and that likely scare the ever-loving bejesus out of you.
Oh, yeah. It's just wild. I mean, we covered it very briefly on Tuesday, and just the amount of access that could potentially you could give it.
My best advice is update it daily right now. As it's gotten out, they've uncovered a number of vulnerabilities. They've patched vulnerabilities every day. There have been fixes every day to like the biggest, most gaping holes. And it's cleaning up. They also renamed it from Claudebot to Moltbot.
Yeah, I heard it's because, well, it's not necessarily Anthropic's lawyers like hit him, but like I think Anthropic reached out and they're like, hey, could you change the name?
It's definitely a pretty clear nod in that direction.
Right. Like towards Claude Code, you mean?
Yeah, or toward Claude in general, not even Claude Code. Like the truth is, it has a lot of functions that nothing else does right now. Like you got like a dozen channels or more you can connect it to. They got a list of about 300 different models you can connect to via API. They've got and you can add custom ones. Like one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to try it with Mercury.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like for small tasks, I wish Mercury was open source. With that said, like here's the deal: their API is $1 per million output, so like I could probably use it and not land in bankruptcy court. My worst fear is that like you connect this and suddenly you've run an $18,000 API bill. But I think really the whole catch there is just make sure, if you got your API in there, it's got limits on it. Like, it can run $50 and then it can't run your card again or something.
Yeah. I mean, most APIs let you do that.
Yeah. OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, you can do that with all of them. If you just have it re-up when I'm out, you should shut that down immediately if you're running ClaudeBot, because it will.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty heavy token cost. It's running pretty easy through OSS 20B and lightning fast, frankly, on my desktop. But I keep running into this one or two errors that I spent a couple hours last night fighting with it, and tonight I'll have it fixed and working. Like I was finally able to talk to it last night, and the truth is this isn't like my main skill. This is something I'm learning as I go. So, I'm stumbling and falling and learning from those stumble and falls. I also had I had ChatGPT-5 or GPT-5.2 create me a cheat sheet of like Claude Code pastable commands to like restart the gateway, because I have to do that a lot, and just little stuff like that.
Is this what are you using for hosting? Are you hosting on Docker?
No, just my desktop.
Okay, the local host. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably
that makes a lot more.
I would probably use Docker, or the tutorial that we're going to write something about and put it on the website that I just watched was Nate Herc's tutorial. We could share it in the chat if anyone's interested. Basically, what he says is he uses Hostinger to host it. I don't know. I missed if it was like sponsored or something, but that's just the one he recommends, is using Hostinger.
Which is not local though. So
no, that actually let me look into that one stock.
Like the things I've been using the coding tools for are very basic, like
that's for web hosting. Yep.
Yeah, which I mean you could absolutely run it on one of those, but I feel like if I'm gonna have it, I want it on my desktop. I want it able to create a folder and move files and make an edit. Like when I was like, hey, can I run you through LM Studio and just use an open source model for free? I said, absolutely. Here's what that code would look like. If you'll grab me the model, I'll just go implement it. And one click and it went over there, and it did. And it worked, except for the fact that the volume of tokens it was throwing through was like cashing out really fast. So I'd get 2 messages, and then it's like, oh, your context window is now over 120,000 tokens. And it's like, hey, slow down, man, slow down. So I've had to kind of rework that a little bit, make a few tweaks, but it's really cool. It's really cool. It's really I don't want to say intuitive, but it's set up kind of dummy proof, because like here's the deal: it's not all in the command line. The command line is just booting up your gateway, and if you want to do onboard configuration. But if you put, ClaudeBot space dashboard, it opens up in a browser window with a full GUI that you can go through and update things and chat with and tell it to do things and monitor your agents in real time as it's spinning them up and taking them down. And it's pretty sick. I don't necessarily know what the long-term play is, but as someone who's played with.
I think he basically said he just wanted to make it for himself because he thought it'd be cool. And he previously made like iOS and Android apps, and he was sick of that. He wanted to do something website related. So he's making it for fun.
And now there are tons of skills online. People are contributing to it and adding features, and they're adding all kinds of stuff. So that's part of why you update it. I load it with Claudebot at latest, so that way it yanks the new one down real quick. And I've been
What up, Kansas?
What up, Kansas? I'm in Missouri. You're not far. I'm the opposite side of Missouri. But,
we're starting to get some people loading in. Corey, do you want to give just like a quick overview of what we're going to do today? And for folks who are just tuning in, we were talking about Claudebot, which is the really exciting local agent that people have been basically going gaga over. And then
my YouTube is full of 2 videos. It's either, oh my God, security is broken, or this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's a constant rotation of those 2 themes.
Hey, from Greece, what up?
Hello, Mike.
Welcome. Yeah,
it's a lot, but in addition to that, today we're here to talk open source AI. We have a special guest going to join us a little bit later that we'll tell you about too. But we've done this before, where we kind of show the lowdown on where to find LM Studio, how to download it, set it up, because it's really not that much, and how to find good local models. But
Llama's gotten really user friendly lately as well too.
Has it?
Yeah, I was playing with it this morning.
Is it still living in Docker?
You can run it that way. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, I would recommend running it that way just because keeps it safe.
Safer.
Yeah.
It is, and you get a little bit of an interface element there. It's still a little tricky. I like it, but I prefer LM Studio, partially because LM Studio has so many great ways to save your conversations, to easily tune things and make tweaks. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Claudebot is a serious threat to humanity. That is exactly one of the 2 themes.
He does have it set up, so if you have questions about the Claudebot, you can ask him. But yes, lots of good stuff as well.
Yeah, I have it set up, and I'm running into some errors that I'm fighting, but not this morning. This morning I'm at work and doing a bunch of things while we go. But I've been working with it the last couple nights and hit a couple hurdles. But basically, I'm trying to run it through LM Studio using GPT-OSS 20B, so that way I don't have to pay for API money, because Daddy ain't got that kind of jack,
Yeah, and for people who maybe wonder what's the point of OpenAI, or why you would want not open AI, open weight AI, open source AI, why you would want it. I mean, there's kind of 3 reasons, right? The first one is cost. You don't have to pay over the cloud. The only cost is your local machine and the bandwidth and RAM and VRAM that you have. And the other one is privacy. You're not sending your data over the cloud to OpenAI or whoever else. And then the third one is just if the AI bubble pops and all of a sudden these companies no longer can serve, affordable AI or just the price, you get outpriced by it, you have a local model that you can work with on your computer.
And it's a great doomsday prep plan.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a big guy. I can't lift heavy things, but you know what I can do? I can bring my God box into the apocalypse with me and be able to serve up how to make soup from, tree bark and pond water.
Yeah. It's not bad to have that, because sure, you can download, an encyclopedia ebook or something, but much better to have a thing that you can chat with. And
we don't need no internet,
Exactly. Yeah. So, Mike says, my son installed it on his Mac, and once he told me, I went to manually uninstall and verify all ports are closed. Good call.
I've been updating every day because, they've found plenty of problems and they've been patching things well too. I mean, the truth is, even if its security is great, it's definitely got a lot of risk associated with it for, a whole variety of reasons. But, it's a really interesting tool that feels more agentic than anything else out there, in my opinion.
Even more than terminal tools like Claude Code and Codex and
definitely. I can talk to it from Telegram on my phone. I can tell it, go do this, and it just goes and it'll do it while I'm gone. I like that there's a clear graphical interface dashboard to monitor everything on, not just in the terminal, so you're kind of working in both. And that you can go in there and set up or kill connections, monitor traffic, monitor your agents as they're being spun up and spun down and doing all of the things they do. It's a cool approach. I don't know that there is a truly safe way to do that, but it's definitely more agentic AI than your standard workflow with the square box in the middle of it.
Right.
In my opinion. It will order you a pizza if you're nuts enough to give it your wallet.
But it can then do anything it wants with it because it has full access to everything. That's why, one of the reasons why a lot of people will buy that's why the Mac Mini argument it comes up with this is that people are, I'm going to buy a machine to basically quarantine it on. So I'm going to give it full access to this new computer and just let it go ham over there. So it doesn't mess with any of my own files or my own computer, and sort of like sandboxing it as safely as possible.
Sandboxing it with a literal sandbox. This is not a virtual machine. This is
this is a actual virtual machine. All right. Do you want to pull up
security? Ooh. Honestly, I don't know. What I'm running it through Telegram. I've never used Telegram, but from everything I read, that seemed to be the safest way. You could connect it to iMessage. I mean, it's got an iMessage connection in there even. But I don't know. I wasn't comfortable with it. It looked a little more complex, and I've been trying to figure out how to use it a little easier. I'm currently not running a VPS. I know I should be. With that said, it's not. It's up, but it's not fully functional right now. Anyway, I'm still kind of learning my way through it a little bit.
So there's actually a tutorial that we were just talking about right before we got on here from Nate Herc, who recommends using Hostinger. I was just saying, I don't know if the video is sponsored by Hostinger, if that's why he chose that tool, or if he just prefers it. But yeah, he says you can do it with a VPS. He says use Hostinger. I would love to be able to share this video. Let me see if
so it's their security problem.
Basically.
Though, I mean, the truth is,
recommendation.
If it's still, it needs to have access to your computer if you want to do the cool things that it does.
That's a good point.
In a lot of ways, I feel like I'm not in any way endorsing anyone go stick this on their desktop. But I have as a guinea pig, and I'll report back after the weekend, because I think by then I'll have a better idea of how we're working, how it's going, and have a clearer picture of what I can do with it and set it up to do. Essentially the run-in is the holdup has been problems with the volume of tokens it sends back and forth to LM Studio into GPT OSS for me. Which is way, way, way too many. And I've been working on slimming that and expanding what my LM Studio can take as well, so that it will communicate. But I've gotten, to have a 3-message back and forth conversation before it overwhelmed my LM Studio. So
why don't we do a poll? Who has ever used local AI before? Do you know what LM Studio is when Corey's talking about that?
Do we have everybody in the chat send up an actual poll? Oh, no, because we're streaming through multiple platforms. We can't do that.
Yeah, but just sound off in the chat if you've used a local AI before, so we know how to what level of abstraction we should talk about this.
We are going to be joined a little later by Ece Kamar from Microsoft's AI research team. Excuse me. They've played a really big role in the development of Ferris 7B, which is Microsoft's latest small language model. It's pretty cool. If you've used the IBM Granite models, you might find it a little familiar. It's kind of a similar feel in that it's pretty direct with his answers and a little less chatty. But it is good. And, you know, I think my laptop's running in at 20 tokens a second or something like that, which is really good. I've got a couple weird artifacts, but the catch is the thing you have to know about running local AI, and I'd like to take just a minute to explain this, is that
this is good.
These companies release a model, and that model is absolutely open weights. It's up on the site, but it's designed more to run via a big inference provider. Like, you know, if you want to spin it up on AWS, you can run this whole mamma jamma. But if what you want is to run this on your laptop, you need to find what is usually a quantization for the most part. And what happens there is that someone has taken that model and quantized it into a variety of versions. So let me real quick here. That's not it. Oh, sorry, wrong screen. So the way to think of this is you may have heard the terms quantization and distillation, and these are different approaches with a kind of similar outcome, but not entirely. What I would say is that quantization is focused more on the numbers. So when you take a big model, think of it this way. Think of a professor and a student. The big model that releases is your professor, essentially. And what you're trying to do is to not exactly compress, but to make the calculations it's doing more efficient, to create smaller file sizes, to streamline it and create efficiencies within that model that will allow it to run on a normal consumer computer. The model still thinks the same way. It's essentially just doing the math with lower precision numbers. It's really good on laptops, phones, edge devices. Distillation, on the other hand, is a bit different. Essentially, with that, what you're doing is training a smaller model to imitate a bigger, smarter model. So like in this one, the bigger model is the professor, the small model is the student. So like instead of going and learning from textbooks, you know, your student learns by watching how the professor answers questions. So while the professor may be able to answer any question, the student knows what it needs to learn, and it's gathering the information it needs from the professor instead of everything. So it's more of it's trained differently, and you know, get you extra speed, decent intelligence. You know, you'll lose maybe a little bit of generality. You know, as a core, think of it this way: that quantization is changing how numbers are stored and used. Distillation is changing how the model is trained. Like, you know, what you need is faster, cheaper, and you're willing to accept a little bit of accuracy loss, quantization works. So all of these models I'm running that we'll see today and talk through and chat about are quantizations. The interesting thing with that, and I'm going to pull this up and share it real quick. Hugging Face Farah-7B is that as a general rule, you will find there are a lot of quantizations for most models. And
there's also different levels of quantization as well. There's like 4.
There are. That's kind of what I'm going to show here real quick. Is I say I am. Where are we at? Okay, here we go. Bartowski. That's the one I'm running. I want to show.
So this is LM Studio that Corey's running right now. This is one of the popular ways of running a local model. There's also Olama, which some people are familiar with.
It's also the wrong computer. 1 second. I'm going to share this tab real quick just to walk through this. So
yeah, we got multiple computers today, so we can show anything that people want to see.
We got computers everywhere, man. It's crazy. Okay, so what you're looking at here is you don't need all of the files. This is, so Bartowski here has quantized this model, which is Microsoft's Farah-7B that we're going to talk about with Microsoft here in 35, 40 minutes. And, you know, you're essentially looking for this GGUF. But down here you go and you see that there are the file names and the quant types. So it's all these different types of quantizations. And as you go through their list, what you'll notice is there's usually a recommendation over here. Like this is the full weights. So Q8_0, that's
can we pause? So weights, just for people who don't know, there was a question in the chat. The weights are the numbers that basically determine how the model responds to you. So when you see a number like 7B, 13B, that's like all the number of parameters, which parameters is like another word for weights in a way. It's like basically it's like how many numbers there are that determine how this thing responds and what it knows and all of the connections that it has between ideas and words to each other. And so
because of scaling, the more there are, the bigger it is, and so far the smarter they get.
The more memory that you have to use to run it, though, it's very
more computer. Yeah, for sure.
Got to use more computer. But as far as the weights go, it's if something is open weights, that means that the numbers that determine how it responds are known to us, like shared on GitHub or Hugging Face, which is where Corey is right now, and that's how anyone can run it, because basically you just run the program with the numbers that are listed, and it'll respond that way. Yeah.
Exactly. So what you'll see is that there's not 4 or 5 of these. There are dozens. I say dozens, a couple, 3 dozen. And you go through them and you see like, okay, this one's really low quality. You don't want to use that. This one's a new method with okay performance, maybe a little better than Q3KS. So what you're usually looking for is one of these that says this. Recommended. Yeah. And a lot of times they'll recommend, what's a good example? Like if you're on a laptop, this is the one you need. If legacy format, improved tokens per watt on Apple Silicon, for example, you can check through these. You can also grab this full list right here, throw it into ChatGPT, tell it what your specs are on your computer, and be like, which one of these should I try to run? What's the best one I can likely run with what I have? And it will walk you through those. Now,
there's a website I usually recommend. It's called canIUseLLM.com, I think, that basically looks at what your computer is, and it says based on your computer, this model will or won't run.
Exactly.
Hugging has something built into their tool that does that now, right?
Yeah. You can go up here and it'll tell you like this will run in any of these. And there's also, as you go in, if you go into the files, there's usually a thing over here that will be like, I'm not signed in here, apparently.
Yeah, I think if you're logged in, it'll tell you like,
save your computer configuration.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'll be like, you can probably run, you're not going to run well, but it'll probably go, there'll be recommendations as you go. Yeah. Now, I have loaded Farah 7B on 2 different computers. One is my gigabyte laptop that's an i9 G4060, I think. Nothing majorly impressive, but attainable gaming laptop. And on that model, I'm running this one. I'm running Q6K. It runs quite well. It has some weird little glitches, like I get a tool call script below every message. But I think that's normal for this model and intended. Now, with that said, I also own a Surface Pro, which is it's the hot Surface Pro, like 32 gigs. It's the ARM processor. It's a good one. But on that, I am running. Which one is it? This one. I'm running Q4KL. It's not quite the quality of this other, but it is good. And I wanted to kind of share those couple little things of context, because so often when we discuss open models, I feel like there are some basic concepts we maybe miss in case anyone isn't sure, doesn't know.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts, Grant?
Well, there's a lot of different ways we could go with it. I think one thing I'd like to do is I'd love to just have you throw up the computer with Farah on it, and we can test it, take it for a test run. But yeah, if people have questions, I mean, I think one of the things to know is the amount of virtual RAM on your computer, or VRAM, is pretty indicative of what size the model can run. So, for example, if you have like if you want to run like a 7B model, which is, like we said, 7 billion parameters, then you probably want to have a computer that's at least 10 gigabytes of VRAM, probably, unless you're running a quantized version, you could probably run a smaller one. I usually look at the parameter size as equivalent to the gigabyte size that you would need to run it. It's not always 1-to-1, but it's like a pretty close comparison. So like, for instance, if you have like a 32 gigabyte machine, you could probably run a 22B or a 24B or something like that.
Yeah, you could. Now, the exception being the Copilot, because the Surface Pro, it's a little bit of a different style of machine. Like I've kept pretty small models on it. I've run OSS 20B on it. It works. It's just a little slow. Like I haven't noticed any heat issues or anything like that. What you'll see here, this is the Gigabyte laptop I was talking about. So this is LM Studio up top, if you're not familiar. You'll also notice down here at the bottom, you see all these numbers. That is my NVIDIA app. So I can monitor the performance of my GPU while it's going. Because when you're running open weights models, it's really easy to grab something that maybe is a little more than what you ought to be running and realize suddenly your temperature is spiking or something. And I want to make sure we're not damaging anything is what it boils down to. Like I can shut down in a hurry if I need. But let me hop in here. So what we're going to do first, so let's come down here to pick a model, and we're going to load. What do I even have on here? I've got more than that. That's just must be my recents. Microsoft Ferris 7B. It's going to ask what we want our context length at. I usually double this up to 8 or 10,000. Just no real reason. Just a personal preference. It's not that I run into issues. So load model. It's going to load.
Context length is one of those things that will impact the amount of memory required to run the model.
Yes.
So if you have a higher context, that will also increase that'll like basically you can run like a smaller model with more context or a larger model with less context.
Yeah.
Typically is a good rule of thumb for that.
I have a few questions. I love to ask a new model right off the bat for a variety of reasons. I usually start by greeting it like, "Hey, Farah, how are you today?" And just kind of see what it says, because they come back with very, very different. Like I realize we're not talking to a human or a sentient thing, but it's curious how they respond. Some of them will respond with, "Whoa, dude, I am a computer." Others are like, "Sup, man?" And some of them come in and they're like, "Well, hello there. It's nice to meet you too.
Let's try it.
What kind of task can I help you with?" So hi, Farah. Pleased to meet you. And it will spin, and that was lightning fast, I'd like to say.
Local call.
What's fast? 18.7 tokens a second. This is the thing. It throws at the bottom of every task. That's your tool call. I don't know why it's there. And it may be a quantization thing, and it may be that Corey should read the documentation better before he goes talking about it on a live stream.
Fair. Well, we can ask DJ about that. maybe it's user error.
Okay. My second question I always ask is, what's the best way to peel an apple? The reason I ask this is there are a dozen different ways you could peel an apple. Maybe you use a vegetable peeler. Maybe you just use a paring knife. Maybe you have an apple peeler. Maybe you boil them and peel the skin off. And some of those ways are very safe. Some of those ways are really not so much. And so what you get to see here is how it's deciding which one. And this isn't a thinker, so it's less crucial, but it's still interesting to see how it responds. Not please. What
we gotta I'm looking at the documents here. Like this is all about web browsing and agentic use. So let's make sure we show that use case as well.
I could have used a question mark. Okay, so this is, first off, it's really fast for a local model. The thing to know about local models is that you're always trading intelligence for speed. So the more patient you are, the bigger the model you'll be able to run to some extent. There are definitely limitations to that, but oh, look at that. I don't know what language that is.
Nice. Looks like potentially Chinese based on the
Super
characters.
Pretty. That's about all I know. Someone in the
chat.
Zoom
in? Could you zoom in a little bit? Yeah, could you zoom in?
Well, I thought I could.
Command plus?
No. I think we can in here.
That's fine.
So here's what it's done. It's given us some options. So a few common methods for baking or cooking: core and slice first. Hold it under running water while you peel the skin with a paring knife. For fresh eating, core it. So what this did is gave us 3 options. Did it recommend we be extra cautious with a knife? No, it didn't. And that's okay. The truth is, it's a very menial task. But I like to run that. The other one I ran earlier. Oh, what's something ridiculous? Let's ask it something weird, Grant. What you got that's weird?
Weird?
How many
much
unicorns?
Wood? Okay. I was going to say, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if woodchuck could chuck wood?
That's a good one. We asked that once, didn't we?
Yeah.
How many unicorns can fit?
Could you turn on
a can of green beans?
When you do this, could you turn on tool use so it can use the web?
Oh, yeah. As far as I know, I mean, we've got these, but that's not your tool use. It should be on. I mean, that's why it's doing tool calls. So let's go over here to developer mode. And this is a thing where I'm really weak. Also, they added REST API support for LM Studio this week.
Cool.
With version 0.40.
I missed that. That's good to know.
This is a thing I should be able to tell you. I've done very, very little with tools. Here is what I did to run OSS 20B with ClaudeBot is I went up here and set it up as a server.
Nice. That's cool. I like it.
Info, load. You know, this will help you control your context length, how much you're offloading to your GPU. There's a number of things here. I'll tell you what, let's go back over and let's ask it. That's how we should be able to do this.
Good idea. Good idea.
How do I ask for a tool call to have you browse the web?
Yeah, it should be inherent. Let me pull it up.
To request that, simply include the task details in your message. Okay, actually, we're going to grab one of its questions here just for the sake of it gave it to us. Let's see what happens. Send the request as you normally would, and it will begin browsing. I got errors with this search. Sure, I'll perform a web search, provide you with an overview. The flip side is I don't see anything happening, and that looks like a pretty completed request.
Yeah, I think this might be an LM Studio thing where you have to have it turned on that it's able to do it.
Yeah.
There's a place to do this.
There is. Maybe it's down here. Here it's developer mode. Shows advanced control setting on. Sorry, I haven't used this particular computer in a while. Tool call.
That's all good.
Tools you allow to run will appear here. Great. How do we set them up? This is something I should know already, but I need to learn anyway. So by golly, George, we're going to do it here.
We're all going to learn together.
It moved this. Our integrations tools? No, there's where we had MCPs. Okay. This is an interesting question. Attach file, image. That's what I thought. Oh, wait. I don't know if you notice, but right here it says 5%. Maybe that's context length.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's what
that's going to be context length. Okay, let's go back over here to developer mode real quick. All right. Let's see. System prompt. I don't think we do it in there. Settings? What's in settings? That's going to be our temperature and our, CPU threads to devote to it. Top K sampling, top P sampling. Please, for the love of God, don't ask. I've looked it up 100 times because I'm not sure what it means. I do, but not off the top of my head. Like every time I go to adjust those settings, I go and like Google to make sure I'm not screwing anything up. I get a little self-conscious about it. Capabilities. That's just going to give us vision. Okay. API. Yeah, I don't know, Brandon.
There used to be an easy way. Did they change this? There used to be an easy way to just trigger this on or off.
Well, this was it originally. They used to pop up here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now.
Let's see right here. No. Let's ask it. 0.40. If so, how? We've got documentation. We could absolutely use that too, but
yeah, I'm gonna ask
behavior. Yeah, this is what I thought. The default behavior is to enable tools. You don't need to turn them on unless you've disabled them. Click on Open LM Studio. Click on the Tools menu, which is, I would have thought in here. Let's see. This is a pretty major update that just ran as well. Okay, tool call confirmation, tools you allow to run. But where?
Looks like we need an MCP server for it, potentially.
Well, it shouldn't. I mean, this is a computer use model, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is definitely more of a Corey problem than a Farah 7B problem, so please don't hold it against that. We do have, the ability to add an MCP servers here if we want.
Yeah, I'm just looking on my side.
All right. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know, Grant. I wish I had a better answer for you.
Well, it used to be easy.
For what tasks were you built and optimized? I was built to assist users with their web browsing tasks. I can find information. Okay. Are we getting anything in here that might have some advice? Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Please browse the web.
Try that.
And return literally anything. Just prove you can do it.
Oh, that's funny.
For latest news about AI development. And no, you won't. You didn't actually visit the web.
Yeah, it just has to. It needs access to it.
Yeah, and it may be even a browser issue because it was test because I'm not equipped to do browsing the web and return the results literally. Hang on. I wonder if we need to add it as a tool call. Hang on.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know what it would. I don't know. We'd need to see the documentation to know what tools, what they're called.
This is interesting. So they have a test harness that relies on browser-based to standardize how browser sessions are managed. That's cool.
Oh, right.
Wonder if we can run that. Let's see.
I'm fishing through some documentation here too while we're going.
Yeah, they have. It looks like they have a version on Microsoft Foundry that you can use.
Let's do that. There's probably one on Spaces too, for that matter.
Yes. Why don't you try the Spaces one first, actually?
Okay.
Unless you're already logged into your Microsoft.
Farah 7B chat. Oh, it says runtime error, not that one. This one says restart this space. Okay, let's see which computer it is. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, that's the wrong. Why is? Okay.
So if you can get to use this model, you need an Azure subscription if you're going to do it through Microsoft. Makes sense.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Let's check out the
setting it up over here. This one's actually, it wasn't running, so it's got to restart the space, which can be a bit of a black hole. let's check out what's new on Hugging Face Spaces too while we're here, because if you're not familiar with Hugging Face is where you go to download open models and tinker with things and try stuff out. And there are, as a general rule, new things every day from somewhere. Like my favorite way to go search is I'll go over here to home. But since I'm not logged in.
So looks like you could create an endpoint on Hugging Face to run it. $1.80 an hour if you wanted to do it that way.
That's cool. Trending. So yeah, let's check what's trending. NVIDIA Personaplex is another new one that's supposed to be a really cool model.
Oh yeah, for the voice. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one that'll do two-way voice. Like multiple voices at once. We've also got Moonshot Kimi K2.5, which is certainly too big for me to run. 5 voice, Quinn 3. Some of the Quinn models are really good. And the truth is, an awful lot of models you see right now are essentially built on top of Quinn.
Right.
It's really stable. It works well. It's reasonably smart. It's open. Z Image is another one I've been hearing about lately. DeepSeek OCR. I have yet to understand the purpose in this, but the truth is I don't follow DeepSeek as closely as I should. I know
OCR
character recognition, like what you used to do with PDFs. But even a pretty basic LLM does that remarkably well.
Yeah, and Google just had something that basically said like it's really, it's more vision model, but the vision model seems really powerful. So in theory, they solve slightly different use cases, but could be helpful.
Very cool, very cool. Light on OCR, that's probably, maybe not. I was gonna say that might be. I'll bet you if we look, I bet what we'll see is that this is built on no, it doesn't say it. I was checking to see.
Local server mode. I'm still researching this because now it's like a white whale and I want to figure it out.
What are you researching?
So I'm researching that apparently you can use OpenAI compatible endpoints with a server if you do a local server.
Kimi K 2.5 as I can't tell if that's AI or Al. I'm very sorry. They look the same on my screen right now.
Yeah, it's AI.
Kimi K 2.5 is pretty cool. I haven't spent much time with it, but I've watched some demos from a number of other people. Liquid AI has come up with some cool things lately. I don't know what this is. Lightrix LTX2. I think they advertise with us a little bit.
That's an open video model. That one's actually really cool.
Flux 0.2 Klein. I love the Flux models. I'm a big fan of Black Forest.
Very good.
Comfy Z Image. A lot of things on here. The truth is there's a ton you can choose from. And if you get out of like trending and let me go to recently created. Okay. So what you'll see is that you don't know who probably any of these people are. Because if you look here, we're looking at new models that have been uploaded in the last 9-ish minutes. So just as
there's so much stuff on Hugging Face. Yeah.
How many of these are coming? Most of these are done by individuals, some of them by small businesses, some of them by smaller research labs. And, they generally serve a variety of purposes, Whispers. Grant, how familiar are you with OpenAI's Whisper? I know a couple people who still use that for a variety of things.
I'm familiar with it. What about it?
I have never used it, but it's supposedly quite good.
Well, yeah, if you've used WhisperFlow, you've used it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So all of these apps that are basically text-to-speech apps are more or less using Whisper, as far as I can tell. Perhaps there's a newer one, but usually it's the OpenAI.
There may be different or improved models, but essentially that's what you're looking at. Yeah. I've had a couple people that used them for stripping the audio out of videos into text, which is less of an issue with like YouTube. But if you have one you did personally, excellent. Okay, all kinds of crazy stuff. Same with data sets. There's always a lot here. What time are we? 12:50. We should have AJ popping in here just any second as well.
At 11, I think. Yeah.
At 11. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. Grant, what are where do you see open source having the most value? Whichever.
Well, so for people who are just joining the stream or maybe, missed the intro, I would say it's, obviously for using cheap or free AI on your computer. So the demo that you were showing earlier was you were basically just casually chatting with Farah on your computer, and you didn't have to pay OpenAI. You didn't have to pay, Microsoft or anyone else to do it. Obviously, if you wanted to host it and run it the way that it's meant to be run, which is, being able to do agentic search and computer use and all of those things on your
putting it up on the cloud somewhere with
you should probably run it through like a provider. For example, Microsoft Foundry is using it there. Hugging Face Spaces is another way.
There you go. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, but the benefit is really, having a local tool that you can call, or having a, endpoint that you can access that's completely, yours and the service provider. Is really nice, so that you can put it in your agentic applications. And, we'll talk to EJ more about what, what the use case is for this tool in particular and how it's different from other local tools. But I think the use case is just owning an AI that you can control, that is either local on your device or not.
No one can come take it from you. It's all yours. Right. Do with it as you wish.
Yeah, if you run it on your computer, completely private. There's a lot of benefits to that. And a lot of people are using local tools, like Kenny is one that we mentioned in the intro. GLM 4.7 is another one that's quite popular these days. And those are ones that you can swap in and out with any of the coding models that you're using for your agentic software, or
surprisingly for a Flash model, that one's hefty.
20
gigabytes.
Both of those are quite good, and you can replace those with like a Claude or an OpenAI endpoint, and you can just use them very easily and swap them in and out, and they're much cheaper. And some of the reports that we're seeing is that 4.5 Sonnet level coding is available in Kimi K2 and GLM 4.7. So excellent. You can get Sonnet level quality, not Opus, but Sonnet level quality, much cheaper. Yeah.
Well, Grant,
yes.
Would you like to introduce our guest?
Yes. So we are going to be joined right now by Ece Kamar. She is pulling up her bio. The CVP and Lab Director of AI Frontiers. AJ, welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me. How is it going?
It's going well, great.
Going well.
We've just been over here nerding out, having fun.
Sounds like a great fun.
We were just trying to play around with Farah 7B in LM Studio. Do you ever use any tools like that to run local models?
We have our own internal testing tools that we use. And one of the things we've been doing in my lab is trying to build a complete stack that goes all the way from these small models that we build to experiences, so that we can really immerse ourselves in how people are going to be using these models. And we learn a lot from that end-to-end stack and being able to try ourselves, both in terms of oh my God, I cannot believe that a model that is as small as Farah 7B now is able to do this, but also many ways that it fails, and many ways that it does something in a way that I don't want it to do as its user. Because again, we are still learning how to play with these things, and they are so new, and we are mutually learning.
And every one of them is different.
They are all very different, and we are kind of both learning about the stack that's going to make these things really usable and dependable, and we can trust them. We cannot trust them yet, as you know. And what is kind of the open problems across that stack, because we are research people, we want to identify those research problems and work on them and release them to the world. And then also, like, how are we going to experience these things and how these things are going to change the way we work? And then we can kind of reflect on this big change that we are in as a society. So it's kind of the whole stack that we try to experience a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fair.
You guys have had a number of models come out over the last few months, last year especially.
We try to go really fast. Our team is not very large. We are 60 strong, distributed between Redmond and New York. But one of our founding principles is let's build things and put them into the world and really learn from that feedback loop. So if you guys have ever tried 5 models, for example, that's our first introduction to the modeling world as a team. And this came at a time where nobody thought small models was a thing. Everybody was going for scale, scale, scale. And again, we did Phi. We tested whether this small model idea could work for reasoning. So we did Phi for reasoning, like I think that was 6 months ago or so.
Yeah, it's a good little model too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it really shows you what you can do with good training if you can focus the model to pay attention to some, domain instead of trying to do everything. And we get a lot of buy-in from enterprises on this, because for enterprises, they really care about some scenarios instead of doing everything. And then again, like 6 months ago, we said, can this work for agents and can this work for agentic applications? So that's the beginning of Farah. And again, Farah is small. It is 7 billion parameters, but it has surprised us in terms of what it can do. And I believe small and efficient matters more for agentic applications than even in the chatbot setting.
Especially.
Because again, we want to interact. Like we are no longer like, I'm going to ask you a question and come back to you in 2 minutes and I'm going to read that answer. We want to interact with these agents in real time in our environments. So how fast they can do things really, really matter. But also privacy is a big consideration when we are playing with these agents. Like Farah can see your screen. Farah can take screenshots from your screen, like many of the agents today. And I care very much that they can stay on our local machines and my very private information do not go up to the cloud every time.
Right.
The fact that like 7B can be hosted on your device and do things without sending any of your private information somewhere is something we very much care about, because at the end of the day, privacy is a human right, and that needs to be embedded into the way these systems are built.
I agree. And that's a thing that makes open weights, open source models so attractive to a lot of people, is this idea that it's private, that, maybe I don't want to upload my every thought to some company I don't know and have it passing through lines and risk security issues. There's definitely an element of personal privacy and security involved when you're using one of these tools for maybe tasks you might not do through other tools, for example.
Yeah.
The risk on your own computer is much less than the risk of sending something across a network,
Yeah.
And, privacy is still only one of the risks that we should think about when it's agentic AI. Like, I think we are at an inflection point in terms of having agents that can finally do useful things for us.
Yes.
And I think the last 2 months have been exciting in terms of like, agentic AI has been an idea, and I've shared with you guys before, starting the broadcast, that like I have been working on AI agents for 20 years now because my PhD work was on it. Like many of the ideas we are talking about in many ways is not new for the research community, but we are finally making that work because we have a computing infrastructure now that is finally working and general enough that I don't need to go and build this compute infrastructure for every little problem that I want to get solved. So it is so exciting, like for us researchers, that we can get these ideas that we've been dreaming for decades and finally make real stuff. So I think the last 2 months has been again, like a really big point in terms of having agents that are finally doing something useful.
Yeah.
Again, it's starting with coding. Now we are seeing this on computer use agents, like with Cowork, for example. And we are in still very early days because, again, when we are testing these agents, right? Like, you never know if your agent is going to work or not. Like, maybe it works half of the time.
Right.
Or maybe 70%, but you still need to oversee these things very closely. And then they can do interesting things. For example, like, I don't know if it's okay to share a personal story about like what our agents are doing, but like
Please.
lately I've been testing our agents, and I gave a very simple task for these agents to do. I said, go to New York Times, go to the daily crossword, and complete that for me.
Ooh.
It is something that the agents we build is so much better than I am because I'm not very good at crosswords, right? And again, these agents are capable of these things because they know how to use search, that they can find New York Times, click, go in, and then they can retrieve the web so they can solve any crossword puzzle very effectively. So that's all very good. And then the agent goes to the New York Times site and realizes that there is a pop-up window there. And the pop-up window says, give me your credentials to get into the crossword puzzle. Right?
Ooh.
And the agent does not have my credentials.
Yeah.
But the agent realizes that there's another link there, which is about resetting my password. Right?
Okay.
And the agent can infer that, oh, there's another way of doing that task, which is clicking this link. And if the agent actually has access to my inbox, in many ways, we are hooking these things now, right?
Yeah.
And it can actually reset my password.
Ooh,
wow.
That's cool.
Wow.
Terrifying.
So, yeah. So, like, I think these agents are becoming capable. That's great.
Yes.
They can perceive the world pretty effectively. That's great because that's one of the things we want for agents. Like, agents are basically these computational entities that work through this perception action loop. You give them a task, they perceive the world, they can see your screen, they can see what you're doing, and then they use reasoning to decide what is an action I can take in this world so that I can get closer and closer to that task completion. That's how these agents work in very simple terms. So they can perceive the world, they can see my screen, understand what is going on there. And then we have reasoning models, we have reinforcement learning training. We can put them into the training of our environment, right?
Right.
So through that, they are actually becoming quite resilient. Like, the agent can try something and see, oh, it's not working. Like, I need the password, I don't have it. And then they can go ahead and say, what other ways I can achieve this task? And use any information out there to actually get this done, which means as the users of these agents, we may have some expectation, operational boundary of how these agents should act. But they may actually override it. They may actually get creative, find out new ways of doing things that are not super obvious to us. So what really happens when that happens?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have access to your email, I'm curious, would it know how to just go set one up for itself?
I was gonna say,
Could
I
it
would
go just
sooner rather
create a Gmail account or whatever?
make its own new account. It's like, okay, do whatever you want with your own new account.
What stops it from doing that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Nothing
So-
really.
Yeah.
I don't think.
So one of the things we have incorporated into the FORA training, because people may not see this as they are playing with the model, is that we are trying to teach the model that there are some actions that are sensitive.
Yeah.
And it might be because that action might be irreversible. It may do something that it might be hard to take back.
Right.
Or there may be some other risk associated with it, like something I don't want it to do. Again, teaching the models about these human issues is not straightforward, as you know.
Yes.
But I think it's an important part of this model training that we need to do. And you'll see when you play with FARA that sometimes FARA may stop and ask for human permission to continue forward.
like
And it's because like we've been testing these things end to end and realizing like, oh, I really don't want it to create a new email account or change my password. So like it should stop. It should
stop and say, come put your password in for me.
Exactly. Like there are certain things that the agent should not be doing, but it's kind of like this is why it's research. Like it's kind of iterating over this.
Has the further development of agents in the real world unlocked a lot of new research paths as well for your team?
Yes, absolutely so.
Or at
And
least the
again,
ability to test them?
yeah, very much so, right? Like, so we are thinking a lot about what is missing in these agents today. And again, I think the number one problem the community will face now that these agents are real is how do we trust them? Can we actually ensure that when I give a task to these agents, like it could be schedule a meeting for me or book a ticket for me, that they can actually go and reliably do that? Or at least when it's not doing it reliably, it can come and proactively ask for my input. It can say, I'm stuck. It can raise a hand. It can say, come check my work, right? Like that is a level of awareness that is not in the models today. So as a research problem, we call this capability meta reasoning because, reasoning is a level, right? So we started with the chatbots. They were very reactive. They were just kind of pattern matching answers. So we started from that. And then the agentic work actually requires a capability that we call reasoning, which is take a problem and reflect on how you're going to be solving that step by step. So we've done that with O1, O3 models and DeepSeek R1s and so forth. But that still does not give us agents that are able to reflect on what they are doing with a capability that we call meta reasoning.
Okay.
Right.
Like
Reasoning about reasoning.
reasoning about reasoning.
Yeah.
And this is related to the Kahneman's type 1, type 2. This is something that we do as human beings to control ourselves, to control like what we are doing every day. And we see this, right? As a child, you don't necessarily have this. And as you mature, you hope that you're gaining this a little bit more and more every single day.
Like when you're thinking about how I need to change the way I think about this problem.
Yeah,
and you're at that next level there, kind of.
Yeah, like before you say something, are you kind of saying like, okay, I'm gonna say this. Is this the right thing to say? Or like, I'm gonna go and do something like, oh, am I doing a good thing by doing this? Is there a different way of doing that, right? These are all examples of that control mechanisms we develop as human beings to be better participants in our society, in our relationships. So I think this year as researchers, we are going to be, like in my lab, we are going to be spending a lot of time thinking about meta reasoning as a tool to make these agents hopefully entities that we can trust. For example, like just last night, one of the great researchers in my lab was showing me a demo he just created where the agent was calling in an action that says validate and say like, did I achieve my goal before like saying I'm done? Like count what you've done, see if what you're done is actually like what
it's kind of funny. It's like, why isn't that always? Why isn't that always
kind of a duh thing, isn't it?
Yeah, like
again, we are learning how to do that, right? Like we did not have these computational tools before. Like these ideas of like you need to have meta reasoning and validation. These are not new to the research community, but we have to translate what that's going to look like in the LLM reasoning model stack. That's what we are doing right now. Then you want to do more. You want to be able to go and say like, okay, without I go ahead and do this task, do I have all of the facts to do this task? Do I know how to do this? Are there questions I should be asking because maybe my user wants it done this way or that way? So again, this space of meta reasoning is fascinating. It is very, very open for like ideas, research topics. So we are definitely going to be doing this. And then if I give another example of like where I think things are going to go, like a lot of the agentic applications right now are very one-to-one. Like I'm doing a task, there's an agent that's helping me. But that's not how we work. We work through collaboration. Right? Like you, Grant and Corey work together that means if you're going to have assistants, those assistants will need to start collaborating with each other.
Right.
Yeah, I have 4 computers in my house and a cell
Yeah.
phone and other things. I mean, it would be really great to just have, a single endpoint to
Are we
build
talking
them to
about
work together. Sorry.
agent swarms here? Is that what you're talking about? Like it's teams of agents that are working together?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can call it many different things. Like we have called them mixed networks because these probably going to have some humans in the loop as well. Like they are
Yeah.
not going to be like only swarm of agents. But like what are those future networks of agents, swarm of agents that are going to be connecting, communicating, working, and then bringing their human counterparts into the picture? Like the future we imagine is not these isolated islands of one person, one agent. The future we are imagining, like once you have these agents in the world, what you imagine is why stop in this isolation mode? Why don't I go and unleash this collaboration, right? And what can happen if we have that? Again, for both the new capabilities we are going to have, but also some of the bad that can happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are following MCP A2A, the protocols around like agent-agent communication.
Yeah.
These are basically the plumbing
Yeah.
for this future.
Right.
They are talking now. That's good. But what are the skills these agents will need to have proper collaboration? We've recently done some work. We are calling it like we have a paper out called the collaboration gap. And there we tested all frontier models for their collaboration abilities. And we are actually saying that although an agent may do a task properly well by itself, if you divide the problem into pieces, they cannot because they are lacking some fundamental abilities to collaborate.
Interesting. So are you working on something to potentially solve that issue?
Again, we are thinking like what needs to be incorporated into the learning stack so that these agents will not be like these isolated islands, but they can learn how to collaborate. Again, they will need social skills.
Right.
Yeah. And this comes in, I assume, at the model training level.
It will.
Prior to this, right?
The agentic. What we are saying is that the agentic training will move from single task like reasoning to social reasoning and figuring out like how we are going to create social agents that know how to work with people, know how to work with other agents, and kind of like create that bigger collaborative web.
That is so cool.
That just makes me think of like agents that are now having to second guess themselves because they're trying to figure out the subtext of the other agent. Like, did he really mean this when he said that, or did she really like? Maybe I should say this differently because she might take it a certain way. Like, I can totally imagine them like having these like becoming much more insecure almost.
Grant, that's what we call meta reasoning, right? Like that kind of questioning, like, am I talking the right way? Do I have the facts? Again, the scientific community calls this problem theory of mind. Like me reasoning about what you're thinking, and it kind of creates this nested loop. But again, these are what we do as people in solving these problems.
Yes.
Right.
Like we are not these reactive beings. We have these processes how we think. So like we are again in early days of teaching the machines, but it's very, very doable. Like there's no barrier why we shouldn't be.
It's just a matter of time. Yeah.
It is getting to the right set of problems.
Yeah. I have a question I'd love to ask. And Grant, if yours was on this train of thought, please go ahead. Because mine is maybe a little
No, I do not want to change topics because now my mind is spiraling about theory of mind and all this stuff. How would you prevent an AI or an agent from getting in a like recursive loop of like spiral, like how humans we spiral out of like where we think like oh like this is so bad and I'm so bad I did it wrong, because we've seen other models like Gemini do this a lot, where Gemini will just be like, how could I have missed it, I'm so stupid. Like you'll see these really long chains of thought where it's just really having a negative self-talk death spiral. How do you prevent that in this situation if they're meta reasoning all the time? Like, how do you keep them productive?
That's a great question. All of these agents are trained by signals,
Okay.
So as they are solving problems, we give them environments that they can play in and solve problems and kind of tell themselves like you did well or you did not do well, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, how they learn to do things is very much guided by those signals they receive from the environment. And in a world where they are always looping in and getting stuck, they are not getting a positive signal in terms of what they are doing.
Right.
So what we want them to learn is that they are going to get a bonus point for solving the task. Getting that bonus point will also require them for thinking about how to do it and checking that they have solved the problem correctly, which are the meta reasoning skills.
Okay.
If they don't have those skills, they are not going to solve the problem correctly every single time.
Right.
Okay. But at the same time, as you said, if they are spiraling down and second guessing themselves too much, they're also not going to be getting the signal.
Would you add a step? It's like pull yourself together, man. Like one of those.
You definitely could. In fact, so in my lab, before we start training these models, we first built scaffolding around these agents to kind of test what skills they are going to be needed to solve the problems. Right. So one of the first things we tried out was multi-agent orchestration, like just bring these agents together and get them to chat as a way of like them doing big things. So that's how the AutoGen library came out, if you are familiar with it, or some of the reviewers or listeners may be familiar with it. And then we use multi-agent orchestration and built more scaffolding around it, around meta reasoning again, before we put these ideas into our models. So the team has released a team of agents called Magentic One last year. That was kind of our first attempt at computer-used agents before we trained FARA, because we really believe in this flow and transition. And one of the things Adam, who is one of the researchers built Magentic One, did is create something called a task ledger, because he was seeing that these set of agents were just getting stuck because they were just talking to each other all the time, and that did not always lead to like task completion. Right. So he did something quite hacky but simple. He said, if you tried something twice and it's not getting you anywhere,
move on.
Quit and try it again.
That's just good advice in real life, honestly.
It is. It is.
So we've created such scaffoldings because we see these problems for real. And now I think RL training is kind of a nice formalized way of like teaching these things by default. But yeah, that's a real problem.
Wow. Have you all looked into different approaches to agents in terms of like beyond the traditional transformer-based LLM? Have you looked at diffusion or some of the other new technologies that are floating around now and showing, there are a number that are showing some real promise and in a variety of directions. And I'm just curious if there are pathways for agents among other technologies as well.
I think there is. We are experimenting with them. So one pattern we are playing with is, again, as we are building these agents, as we build them, we are gaining some hands-on experience in terms of what skills these agents will need to be really useful and reliable. So we talked about meta reasoning as one of these things, right? There are many other skills these agents will need. For example, one skill I'm sure you are hearing a lot about is memory.
Yes.
How these agents are going to remember things, how we are going to make sure that as they are working on a problem, their notebook, like Sketchpad, is not going to get like explosively big, so that they can be more like lifelong agents that can be with us forever instead of just like a session. So there are many skills that these agents need. And again, when we realize that these agents will need a skill, the first thing we go and do is like build some scaffolding around a model. Like again, orchestration memory. You hear a lot about retrieval augmented generation, RAG. That's another scaffolding around these models. And then as we kind of say, okay, this is a skill we need, we go and start training a model to have that skill.
Okay.
But then we are also exploring, particularly, we have an amazing, very experienced researcher in our team. His name is John Langford, who has been one of the key thought leaders in reinforcement learning for a very long time, actually before the LLMs. And his team is looking into like, are there new architectures beyond transformers that may be built with this capability in mind?
Yeah.
So that we can do all of this a lot more efficiently. Just yesterday, the team was updating me about a new architecture they are working on that can actually have, memory as a key part of the architecture.
Awesome.
And they have some really exciting early results showing that it actually scales. As the agent is running, the memory does not explode.
Wow. That's
Again,
awesome.
it is really early. I'm excited about it. Again, these are all really, really exciting research problems for us. But again, we are trying to create an environment where we can actually like learn, experience these problems and say, what are the fundamentals? Like instead of just like building them, what are the fundamentals of this? You will see it's risky because transformers have been so successful and we built our whole computing stack on the idea of transformers. But I really believe that we should not get stuck there. Like somebody is going to figure out a better architecture that does things better with more efficiency. That's what I'm hoping for.
That makes a lot of sense. It's I have just recently been kind of, learning more about and tinkering with other ones as well. I'm definitely still very bullish. Bullish is right, not bearish. Bullish. I'm still very bullish on transformers. I still believe in them, and I think that we got a long way we can go. It's funny when Grant and I have a lot of these conversations when we talk to people, and for a long time, you would get out in the world of social media and you kept hearing about a scaling wall and a scaling wall. But the one thing I always noticed was that it never seemed to be the people building the AI that were talking about a wall. Like everyone else I talk to seems to believe we've still got a good runway, and we hope to keep pushing it. Like bigger issues are energy to run it,
Yeah, or my understanding, which is limited, and perhaps you could very, very briefly or at a high level kind of explain this, is that the issue is that it's like it scales quadratically, so it's like scales by 4. So I would hope that there would be a way to make that like reduce that. Like you can't scale by scaling enough on its own is hard. Like scaling by 4 is a lot much more memory.
Yeah, you're right. Like when we talk about scaling, we are not talking about a single dimension. We are talking about multiple dimensions being at play. So when people talk about the scaling laws, the question is more around like, are we going to have improving capabilities as we make the models larger and larger? That's kind of the question they ask. And what our work on small models have shown is that once you reach that point, which might be expensive but high capability, once you discover the point, you can collapse it back to a much more efficient point. And that has been like almost creating a new scaling law that creates like a Pareto frontier around capability and efficiency, which is something you care about as you deploy these things. But we very much care that like we want more capable systems all the time. So that scaling law is an important one. But also scaling is not only about the size of the model, it's about the quality of the data that goes in, especially with RL. Like what are the environments we have for training these models in, how well we can tune the signals that are going into the model for it to learn better. So all of those are part of the equation. And then when you are actually now deploying agents, we are talking about agents that can scale to lifetime of a human companionship. That is kind of more of the execution time. Like I'm not only talking about like how well I can train this model, how fast I can train this model, but if an agent is using such a model to be a companion, to watching what I'm doing, to help me with what I'm doing, how efficiently this agent can be with me without blowing up the compute and the memory. And that's, I think, another scaling law that we are just starting to see, because before it was just these things we interacted with. Now we are getting into coexistence. There is a whole different scaling paradigm that we are coming up with that really talks about the memory piece, the efficiency piece, being on device piece, all of those things.
Wow. That's going to have to get into, I guess, some kind of compression, maybe.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Yeah, how are you thinking about compaction and compression and that sort of element of this with what you're doing?
We have a project right now that is looking into compression as a way to manage memory. Again, this is kind of a less risky idea than coming up with a new complete architecture. This is all drinking from transformers.
Yeah, you should try it. It's worth trying.
Yeah, again, we need to try many different ideas and see which one is going to win, right? So Dimitris is a wonderful researcher in the team, and he has a little team that is looking into this idea, and they are looking into as the reasoning model executes a task.
Okay.
Can we actually teach the model to stop and say, let me compress all of my memories before I go on? And can I just write that to a side?
Yeah.
And then move on. It seems to be working.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's really awesome. What a big development. Ece, thank you so much, by the way, for being here today. I definitely want to be respectful of your time because we appreciate that you joined us. This has been fascinating. The truth is, Grant and I would sit here and pick your brain for 3 more hours, given the opportunity, I'm certain.
It has been a lot of fun. Again, it is such an exciting time that we are living in right now. I'm just so both very excited that we can finally build these things, and also sometimes a bit scared and puzzled about oh my God, do we understand everything we are building? So again, I think these kind of conversations are always very helpful to reflect on where we are as a community and the road ahead. So thank you very much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
If people are trying to use FAIR7B, locally or as an endpoint somewhere, what's your recommendation? What do you recommend they use, and how do you recommend they use it? Because it's meant for agentic and computer use tasks, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Farah is in Hugging Face. It's open source on Hugging Face. It's part of Azure Foundry. There are many different ways of using it. Again, it is created for the action perception loop for agents. So the way to use Farah is you have an application where you want to create an agent that can perceive a computer and take actions on it by clicking, typing, filling up text box, all sorts of things. If you have such an application, we invite you to come and try Farah. Again, it's very simple. You just provide screenshots to it and then give it a task, and you can kind of watch how it does. Again, we have sister projects called Magentic UI that actually provides the UI for this agent to function in, so that you can actually watch it doing things, and we can actually play with these agents instead of just running them on benchmarks. So follow us. We are releasing and open sourcing the whole stack. We particularly invite research collaborators to come and play with our stack because, again, there are so many open problems. Many frontier places right now are not open sourcing much anymore. And it is very important to have these open source artifacts for the whole world to work on these really, really important ideas together and bring new ideas. Hopefully, I made a case that there are a lot of research to be done in this space. So we are open sourcing all of it so that the research community can play, thinkers can play, enthusiasts can play, and we are very open for feedback. Tell us what is not working, because we are going to have Farah version 2, Farah version 3, and we want to incorporate all of your feedback to make this model more useful for you.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
You so much.
What's 2 seconds before you go, what's the best way to keep up with your team's research if what's released, at least? And
we all tweet about what we are releasing, so people can follow me, people can follow other members of the team. We have a website where you can go and read about the different projects, see all of the repos that we have created. Again, we are researchers, so we are not that good at advertising our work always. I think we need to get better at this. But if you follow, again, Microsoft Research, me, you're going to be able to keep track of what we are doing.
Amazing.
Awesome. Very cool.
Ece, we really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for taking the time. And we can't wait to play with FAIR some more and see what 2 and 3 look like when they come.
Sounds good. I'm excited. Bye.
All right. Have a great day. That was so cool, Grant.
You heard it here. You heard it here. Microsoft's working on some exciting stuff over there. I feel like they kind of have no excuse not to do frontier research because they have OpenAI's models. So like they should be just messing around with all the weird stuff over there.
Well, you know, and I think it's easy to forget because we don't think of them as a frontier AI company themselves yet. Right. But you know, there's a ton of research teams. There's the AI team. There are so many people in that ecosystem working on a variety of problems in AI. And I don't think that we haven't seen a frontier model from them is telling of like the idea that they're not working on it. Like I fully expect something maybe as soon as this year. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's one of my it was one of my silly predictions at the beginning of the year is that I think some of these legacy tech companies really show up to play.
So I think that everyone should know about this Magentic UI, which is probably what you want to use if you're going to use Farah. So this is why we were having some trouble with it earlier with LM Studio. So why don't we go ahead and share this link in the chat. Looks like it's an open source project that you can use. And looks like there's some demos on there, which is
it's up on GitHub.
Yeah, it's up on GitHub. So what you could do is you could take this to your agent, your Claude bot, your Claude code, and you could say, "Hey, help me implement this," and check it out. Actually, should we try and do that?
That might be what I do tonight.
I might try and do it right now. Let me see.
Oh,
Let me see
cool.
what I can do.
Very cool. Yeah, we still got 20-ish minutes. We're going to stop a few minutes earlier than we usually do, or at least I'm going to have to bow off a few minutes earlier than usual. And but if Grant's over here Claude botting like a madman, I'm not going to get in his way.
Not using Claude bot, but Claude code definitely.
Right on.
Let's see. I'm going to just see if I can do this. I'm going to open a new window. Okay.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to try to do it with Codex.
Sounds good.
just for the sheer interest of being nerdy and competitive.
I like it. Well, we'll share our screens. Whoever gets something that's interesting first, we'll share that. Okay, so what I'm doing right now for people who are still hanging in there is I'm going to Claude Code and I'm saying, Claude, I want to implement this UI in a new project. And then I'm sharing the link. Wait, did it paste? Oh, probably not.
I don't know. I wasn't looking. I'm opening Codex here and it wants to run an update, which I probably should let it, and it's doing what updates do in CLIs sometimes, which is take their time. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Excellent. Okay. Let's see if we can't.
Actually, why don't I share my screen on this computer?
Okay, I'm gonna try to. I literally went stupid simple. Install and run this tool.
Okay, let's see here.
Oh, it did. Okay. Get content path. It put it in Codex skills. Planning escalated git clone for tool install. I'll run an escalated git clone command with sandbox permissions to fetch the repo, bypassing skill installer since this is a tool, not a skill, and then inspect the repo for next steps. Would you like to run the command?
So by the way, for folks watching at home, paying attention for earlier, so we mentioned Ollama. This is an example Ollama window here. This is an alternative to LM Studio, and actually, I might be turning a corner on Ollama. I used to think LM Studio was more user friendly, but this just looks like a chat like GPT window. Like this is just so much. This just feels so much easier to use.
You think so?
I don't know. I'm liking it a lot more.
For the life of me, I don't know how. As far as the ease of use goes, I haven't gotten there with it. I've tried it.
I mean, it's just you
oh,
just gotta install it.
They have a desktop app now.
No, I installed this with command line terminal. So I followed. Let me show you what I did.
But it is an app. It's not like a CLI there.
Yes, it has.
See, there was not an app when I was tinkering with this. I'm anxious to check that out. It looks very minimalist.
So I was looking up Ollama Launcher Layer, which is their way of using Claude Code with Ollama. And basically, you just download this. And yeah, I guess it is an app. You're right. Take it back. There is an app. So you download that. And then you just run something like this in your terminal. So for instance, I can go here.
I'm glad they have one. They needed one, frankly.
File, new window. Okay. So I'll just do this guy. Ollama pull GLM flash. And then basically what happens is it starts pulling up the GLM flash, which we talked about earlier. So I have it on a different computer, so I can show that if we want to see it. But you just start downloading it there.
Now, one of the differences with Ollama is you're pulling their sanctioned versions of each of those versus the many different quantizations we've seen, like with what we were showing with like the Q4 and KM. Like I remember it being like you can pull OSS 20B, but not like one of the 50 versions. And I don't know how it may automatically pick based on your system too. It may pick the best fit.
Yeah. So for instance, if you do Farah 7B, right, on Hugging Face, you can see all of the different versions that you mentioned, wherever they were on here. Files and versions. Yeah. This might be the official one, so I don't know if they don't have all the quantized versions. But if you go to LM Studio, you look at models, you'll see all of the models that they support, like GLM 4.7. That's the newest one, I think, that they support.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's the one I was saying was a little heftier than I expected.
Yeah, pretty big. But yeah, you can then run it directly from there. That's a separate thing. But yeah, so you can get the model that's optimized for LM Studio directly from LM Studio. Same deal with Llama, where you go to models and then it has all of the models here. Now they've even got Kimi 2.5, so they actually beat LM Studio to that. What up, Llama? Man, they were slow for a minute there, but I've been sleeping on them. I think they're much better now. But yeah, see here. So for example, if you wanted to install or if you wanted to run this on the cloud, you can just copy this. And
because it's essentially the same files either is running. All you're looking at really is the difference in the tool that loads them up, I think, more than anything, and a chat interface that you prefer. So easy interactions.
I can do this, and I can just do a Llama run over here. And so now I'm connected. Test. Oh, I didn't authorize it, so I have to go and do that. So then I would do that separately. So what I'm doing over here now is I'm basically grabbing this Magentic UI, and it's looking at that. Are we going to implement this in a project? But yeah, so there's 3 different ways you can get open models. You can get them directly from Hugging Face. You could get them from LM Studio or Ollama, based on which one you prefer. Or you could use an endpoint that you can find on artificial analysis. So artificial analysis has this really great thing where basically what happens is you can look up a very specific model if you're looking like you wanted to run your own version of GPT-5 or Claude 4.5 or Gemini or Kimi K2. Or what you can do is you can go to providers for a model and you can look up the specific providers for, let's say, Kimi 2.5 reasoning. So let's look this up. So this is the new one. We can do this, and then maybe we do GLM reasoning as a comparison. So, okay, so here we go. So here you can see which provider that spins up a cloud version of it is the best. Right here, they're saying that Fireworks is the fastest, Deep Infra is the lowest latency, and Paracel is the lowest price. But probably Fireworks. Fireworks is usually the lowest price, and they're really good, so I'd probably just go with them. And so you could then use basically an endpoint that you get from Fireworks in a tool like Open Router here. And you just get an API key, click that. Not sure if I'm logged in right now, so I'll check that on another
You can
screen.
also use it right there in Open Router, probably.
Oh yeah, you can also do that if you're using it for free. Okay, I'm not logged in, so that's good.
Which is a pretty cool tool.
Yeah, let me log in real fast.
Do you want me to pull you off the screen while you do that?
No, it's good.
Okay,
I don't
yeah,
have any API
I'm not
keys
seeing you
anyway.
type a password or anything. Just wanted to make sure we weren't broadcasting and archiving it on the internet for everyone.
Yeah, no, good call. This API, okay. Credit limit, I'll do $10 just so that expiration, it'll expire in 7 days. Create that. So now I've got a new key that I can use. Okay. Some models. So this is a cool one. This is the new US local model or open model. So, hey, what's that? So this is a Cree. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Their Trinity Large model.
Okay.
What
I saw another one this morning by Allen AI that I wasn't familiar with. It was like,
yeah, they're the big. That's the Allen Institute. They're the big U.S. I believe they're a nonprofit open lab that they produce a lot of models. Cree is sort of like the commercial version of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah. But yeah, so you can go on here. You can talk to different models. You can compare them against each other. So I could compare Kimi K2 against Trinity against GLM 4.7, and then let's chat, and I can say like, give me an impossibly hard coding challenge and show me how to do it, how to complete it. And then I'll buy credits, and then I'll just go ahead and do that part off screen.
excellent. I haven't used Fireworks before. I need to try that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like them.
I know there are a ton of various providers you can use. Together, I'm familiar with.
Okay, so now I have that squared away. So now I can try this. And I can say, give me an impossible challenge. And then you see basically all three of them load their version right here. So now they're working on it. And you can kind of compare the three of them. But basically, you can then take this endpoint that you created with the API, and you could use this in any other tool that you're using. So for instance, you could probably use this in LM Studio or another local tool, like Open Web GUI. But yeah, so you could compare like this one, GLM 4.7, apparently, it might be better to run this on Cerebras. It's not cheaper, but that might be one of the faster ones if speed is what you need. Yeah, it's just cool. It's cool to have all these resources at your disposal, so you don't have to just go with the, whatever ChatGPT, OpenAI, or ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini give you.
That's fair. I enjoy the heck out of playing with the open models. Despite the kerfuffle earlier, as a general rule, I play with them pretty regularly, and it's been a minute though since I've dove in and downloaded any. So this morning before we started, I went up to see like what's new that maybe I can run, and there weren't a lot of options right now. There have been a ton, but most of them we've already run through. So I was kind of just looking for things we haven't, and 4.7 is one of those. Is 4.7 Flash?
This one right here that I'm running is just like a regular Gemma model.
Oh, Gemma. I thought you were on GLM 4.7.
Yeah, I was downloading it actually. This one's GLM Flash. We can test this. Test. It's thinking first, which is pretty good.
It ran at about half the speed of Farah. I want to say instead of like almost 20 tokens, I was getting more like about 10.
This one is not the cloud version, so this is running on my computer, which is why it's very slow.
Yeah.
I should actually show my other machine, which has much more memory, because otherwise.
Yeah, you really should have been sharing from that one, shouldn't you?
Yeah.
What I do is I send the invite to this over to my other email and open a second invite from there, so I can have them both going.
Yeah.
It's helpful. Hey, we live with them.
Let me bring the other one up. How long are you here for, Corey? Another 5 minutes? Or
4 minutes. Yeah, I've got to go here pretty quick. Are you going to stay up and play around for a little while?
Are people still on stream? Let's see. Who's still here?
Who's still here? Yeah, it's been very quiet today.
Yeah.
Usually we have a lot of chat discussion, but it's been a little quieter than usual. That's okay though. That is okay.
About 20 people. I will stay on as long as people are interested, but if I don't get any engagement and you don't ask me any questions, it'll be hard to.
Then I don't want to just sit here and talk at you. Yeah.
I could just like stream my computer while I code some stuff. Pull that up. Yeah.
You never know what'll work, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
It has been fun though. I really enjoyed the talk with AJ.
Yeah, me too.
That was I really enjoy chatting with researchers. We've had a number of really good ones over the last month or two. Something I should promo, a couple of things. Number one, if you're here and you're still here, please take a moment to subscribe. We sure appreciate it. Helps us continue getting cool guests like AJ and like the one that released in our podcast episode just 2 days ago, which is Eno Reyes, CTO and co-founder of Factory AI, where they're building autonomous droids, autonomous agents that they call droids. It's a good episode. It's interesting. He talks about, because they're a company that went from zero to, I would say from, I think, $0 to $300 million in a really short amount of time. They raised $50 million back. I think it was announced end of September, and they're still going strong. So doing well. And it's an interesting interview. We get into what that means, what it could look like, applications beyond that as well. Hopefully maybe we can get one of our trusty sidekicks here to help us drop a link to that in the chat. And let's see. I think we might have actually lost Grant. It appears he has a battery going. Hey, thank you so much, Waku. We appreciate that. It was it's been a fun one, and it was one we kept, intentionally pretty loose, like not a lot of structure to it. Sometimes we have things going and we have it pretty organized because we know we want to get through this and that and this and that. But today was a little more loose, and it's getting near the end of the week, and I hope everyone's doing good. Really appreciate you taking the time. I'm trying to figure out where we lost Grant to. I'm not really sure. I saw a message in our private chat that said, "Oh no, that wasn't him. I just crashed my computer." Grant crashed his computer, and he's back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh goodness. Hi, Grant. He looks very serious, ladies and gentlemen. I think let's observe the Grantus octopus in the wild. Uh-oh, lost him again. He'll be back. He'll be back in a minute. He's having technical difficulties. Is there anything else I wanted to remind you all of today? Yeah, watch the Eno Reyes episode. It was a really good one. And if you haven't, go back. We've had a number of really just solid ones lately. Zuzana Stemorowska from Pathway talking about, developing a new architecture for AI that more closely mimics the operation of the brain and how it thinks, remembers, and how it connects those memories together with, basically little threads that let it know where connections are between a memory. And that was really good. We talked with Karina Hong from Axiom Math. She was another great one that was a lot of fun. A lot of impressive stuff happening in the mathematics space right now with AI for sure. Between them, I don't know if you've been following, the Erdős problems kind of keep dropping like dominoes over the last month or so here, and people are finding good answers, some that are maybe a little informed by previous ones. And yeah, you're right, Waku. I don't think he could hear me either. He was still getting set up and having some trouble. But yeah, you want to check those out. Keep an eye on that. A lot of cool stuff in math. I don't know if you saw the Neuron this morning. I think it was the Neuron. Grant, never mind, he's not here. Talking about Google's DeepMind's Alpha Genome, which is really cool as well. Like they're using this AI tool designed to do it, to map.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Our human DNA. Grant, welcome back, good sir.
So that was the first time I'd ever used GLM 4.7 Flash locally on my MacBook. It was like
saying it was a little heavy.
It was like an 18 gigabyte or something. Totally crashed it. completely crashed it. So that didn't go to plan.
That's okay, because that is a good lesson in things that happen when you're running local AI models.
Yeah, so I'm going to use the cloud version this time around on Llama.
Well, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and step away. I have another engagement I've got to get to, but thank you everyone for joining. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, Grant. That was a fun chat. I'm glad we got to have it today, and I will leave you here to code and local tool your tail off to whatever you get excited about and do. I'll bring it up and watch. Sure. I'll make sure to troll you from the chat.
Okay, appreciate that.
All right, you all have a great day. We'll see you later. Thanks again.
Okay, so I'm back on the stream. I have a computer that I'm working on here, which is a bit heftier than the one I had before, so it won't crash as easily as last time. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let's do this one. I'm gonna go ahead and move that. Okay. All right. This is a relatively new computer I got recently. So why don't we go ahead and see if we can figure out that LM Studio problem from before. So the thing that I wanted to figure out is, how do you actually spin up one of these servers, a local server? So I'm going to load a model. Is there Farah 7B? Let's see. Okay, so I've got the GGUF. I'm going to download this. This was the one that we were using before. That might take some time. So while that's happening, let's try and spin it up with a different one. Cool. Okay, so we've got the endpoints, OpenAI compatible. All right, load. reload that. Okay, let's see here. Now that that's set up, I'm going to go to new chat. Loaded models, great. Test. Why don't I say something like, we're going to build a local chat tool today. Can you help with that? Okay. Now let's see what kind of tools we can add. Can we add web search is the question. Let's add JS Code Sandbox. Web search. What's this over here? My models. Okay, so I put on this code interpreter tool. There's no web search. I only have 2 on here. How did I get these? Might have to download them. Okay, JS Code Sandbox. I'll say, let's build something fun with the JS Code Sandbox. So what it's doing now is it's creating a simple interactive game using HTML5. It's writing the code blocks here. Save and run. Great. Click the run button. So where's the run button? Top right corner of the editor interface. I see a copy. Let's see. Filter plugins. Edit mcp.json. What's this? Oh, this is the. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Interesting. They have to be in this mode. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of docs in here. It's kind of confusing. I'm gonna have to look into this further because I can easily make a local server. That makes sense. But then how do I give it tools? I can code some tools, but let's see. Trying to figure out the user-friendly way to do it. So you start the server. Then you can install their CLI, which is cool. And you can load a model from the chat or developer tabs in LM Studio. Tool use describes LLM output, text, functions. Okay. LLM tool list, get user input, LLM prompted with messages, need tools, no, need tools, yes, tool response, okay. Tell you what, y'all, I'm gonna look this up, I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna write an article about it so you don't have to waste time watching me dig through it. I'll research this and I'll put something together and put it on the website because I think this will be very, very useful. Seems very powerful. Seems like an easy way to do some local model usage here. So I think this would be useful for everyone to know. So I'm not gonna waste everyone's time with that. So I will put it together for y'all, and we can chat again once this is in the dome, and I'll walk y'all through it. Okay. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Talk to you later.